Next up in our small batch brewing series is beer number 8, Cascade Centennial with First Wort hop. Welcome back, everybody. So today we are going to have the first tasting of beer number 8 in our small batch brewing series using 2 hops. This is Cascade Centennial. We are using raw 2-row malt with First Wort hopping. Now I will have another beer with it switched, but the First Wort hop is going to be 20 or 0.25 ounces of Cascade. Now, what is First Wort hopping? It is after you're done with your mash in and your mash out, and you're collecting your liquid into your boil kettle. That's when you put in a certain amount of hops. Now, usually in doing this, you're gonna use, say, 30 to 50% of the end of your hop bill. So if you have in a 5-gallon batch an ounce of Cascade, an ounce of Centennial, an ounce of Citra, you might take the majority of that or even all that and do a First Wort hop. Now, what is this going to do? It is going to add more bitterness because you're still going to boil all those hops just as long as you would with a 60-minute addition. It will be a little bit longer because obviously you have to bring it up to a boil, but it's supposed to be a cleaner flavor, not as harsh, not taste, so you might not taste as many IBUs. So it's supposed to be a cleaner, maybe a little bit more aroma, a little bit more flavor, and not as harsh. I've never done it, so I can't tell you for sure. That's just what I've been reading on the internet. So, as I said, this grain bill is using 2 pounds, 4 ounces of 2-row, just like all the rest of them. Then right after the mash, so the First Wort hopping, we're doing 0.25 ounces of Cascade. Then at 10 minutes, we're doing 0.25 ounces of Centennial. Then 5 minutes, we're doing 0.25 ounces of Cascade, 0.25 ounces of each 3 days for the dry hop. Now, I said you usually add the end. I've never done it. We're experimenting, so I actually took the 60-minute edition, and that's what I used for my First Wort hop. I do have 2 more after this that actually use the end that go into the First Wort hop. So we'll cover both bases and see what we like the best. This was bottled on 9/15, so almost a month old, came in at 6.93%. Let's go ahead and get this open and see what we think. Little hiss on there. Beersmith was calling for this with the regular batch, so this would have been, let's just say, batch 1 in this series, was 31.2 IBUs. This one, Beersmith calculated at 33.4. So not a big difference, but this Cascade hop I'm using is only 4.4% alpha acid. So it's not gonna be that big of a jump. We will try it with more down the road, and I think we'll see that IBU scale grow some because you are leaving those in the boil longer. Let's go ahead and get it into a glass, see what we think. Got some stuff in there. This did use the 1.5 gallon Mr. Beer kit, so we're gonna have hot particles and stuff like that in here because I do use the spigot on that, and it is bigger, so it does let some of those hot particles through there. No head. I believe our beer number 1 in the Cascade Centennial series didn't have a head. What I do have is white. If we take a look at the color, golden yellow in color, kind of hazy. I can't see through it all the way. It doesn't look like chill haze to me. It looks like there's just protein yeast still floating in there. Not really any chunk, just a couple hop pieces floating on top. Let's go ahead and get a smell, see what we can get. Now, I should probably do this in a side-by-side with beer number 1 in this set, but we will have that tasting with all, let's say, 8 of them, 9 of them, 10 of them side-by-side, so we will be able to compare them. But just remembering what that first beer was, I'm guessing we're going to get more floral from it. Let's go ahead and smell. Floral, some citrus, not really a big, huge smell, just some floral with malt sweetness in there. Nothing, I thought it was actually going to be a lot bigger. Yeah, yeah, it smells like almost a beer that has maybe a little too much malt, like used a little too much malt. It's more of that sweet malt than anything, but I do get that floral in there. Let's go ahead and taste, see what we think. Tiny bit of yeast, citrus and floral mixed together throughout the whole entire palate. This drinks like a bigger IBU beer. It tastes like in the back of this, there's a lot of bitterness in there. And I'm not even talking like a grapefruit rind from the Centennial. It is bitter, big and bitter. Smooth. You do get a little bit of that sweet malt that clashes with that citrus and floral, but that bitterness is there even through the aftertaste. Little sweet malt, maybe lightly toasted bread, but that bitterness is still even in the aftertaste. It doesn't. It does taste like the flavors are more smooth. They're not as harsh. If I remember back to some of those first ones, yeah, they had some harsh flavors, and this just seems like I almost want to say like an older beer. Like the flavors just come through nice and smooth instead of just smack you in your face. Very light. I'm surprised by how light the body is. It's almost like I'm drinking water, and I'm not sure why since they all use the same amount of grain. Now this one probably did attenuate a little bit lower since it's almost 7%. So that could be leading to a thinner body than some of the other ones that are around 5.5 to 6%, because those sugars in there are going to stay, so it's going to be a little thicker beer. And I think this does show that it's pushing 7, that it's a little thinner. It's not as thick. It's not that balanced in the overall taste as far as the body of the beer goes. The flavors that are coming through do not match the body, if that makes any sense at all. I don't get alcohol. The bitterness is starting to go down, so maybe my palate just had to keep up, but there is some there in the back. But overall, solid beer. I know, well, it says not to use your first additions for the first wort hopping, that you should use the end, but hey, I had to try it. We've got the time. But yeah, I think this finished well. We'll have to see what the other ones bring in the series, to see if we want to make another beer like this. So if you like this video, thumbs up. If you don't, thumbs down. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and ring that bell so you know when new videos are coming out. And until next time, happy brewing.